This is Mike, and I'd like to give you a comparison video today of Things versus Nozbe. So Things, as you are probably familiar, is a brand new release from the German company Cultured Code. Things was one of the very first applications to come on the scene back when the Mac App Store opened up. And typically it had sort of this GTD, or getting things done, vibe. So when Things 3 was just released a week ago or so, people were pretty excited. So as you can tell, the look is very different from things in the past in that there's a lot more open space, right? I'm using the full screen edition, and you can see how you can shrink it down or make it full screen. The other nice thing, and I'm going to go through some of the really great features here, and then I'll transition into the comparison with Nozbe. But one of the really nice things you see in this top right corner is this ability to pull one of your panes and create this separate viewing panel, which is really nice. And if you're using multiple screens, I would recommend this. Imagine if you took, I'll take this one project called Pentecost, and you can see I've got a lot of information and things in here. And or I've got a porch project that I'm working on with the kids, and you see I've got a number of different items here, from washing the sills, sweeping the floor, putting away the shoes, removing a cheer cone. But imagine if you had just one of your panes open and a separate monitor. That would be a pretty nice feature there. Okay, so that's a nice feature. A couple other things that are really cool. Upcoming, you see these are just various things that you've scheduled. It gives you that look anytime. So this is sort of like the full enchilada here. Anything that you've put in your things, but you don't perhaps have a date on it. Someday maybe, not really something that I'm using right now, but a nice feature. Logbook, very nice. You can see all the checked off blue items. These are just tasks that I've completed in the last week. Very nice. And if you were looking for a task that you put into things and you said, gee, did I do that? I can't even remember. It's right there in the logbook. And one of the other brilliant features is this ability to search from anywhere. So I just typed in the letter J, and you see this nice little search pane comes up here, and anything that you type in, if it's not a quick key shortcut, it's going to show up as search. So imagine if I just type in the letter P, again, it's going to pull up that search, and it's going to go through all kinds of things here. So I think that's really a pretty killer feature. Then you see, again, on the left, these are just various projects that I have going on. They're very similar to any other productivity app that you see out there. And I'll show you the quick entry format. Again, I'm in the porch project here. I can just do Command N, and that's going to pull up this pane, and maybe I'm going to add wash the floor. Now you'll notice that I can't put in natural language. Let me just close that there. I can't put in natural language and say wash the floor Friday and then hit enter and hope that it tags that task to Friday. So that's a disappointing feature of Things 3, but you see it's really quite beautiful and elegant here. I can add some notes such as use soap and water, or other things. I could certainly also add a checklist here, such as soap. I could add, let's see, what else? A bucket. I could remind myself that I need, I don't know, mop, whatever. So you can imagine that you've got a grocery list here, and you're just going to add items. That's pretty handy, okay? You could certainly also add some tags, such as here. You can see I've got a number of tags. And these could be time-specific tags, like how much energy do I have, or where do I want to do them. I can add a date, but you see that I've got to use my fingertips there, and that's not so good. Okay. And then I can add a deadline, which is kind of a nice feature there. Okay, so nothing fancy there. I mean, it looks great, but I wouldn't say there's anything earth-shattering there. Then I've got these contexts. So OmniFocus would call these contexts. Nozbe would use other vernacular here, but these are not so much projects, but these are kind of spaces where I want to operate. So I've got a space for for around the house, I've got people online that I want to just look at and spend some time researching. I've got things related to my personal website and then things for my faith coach. On the bottom, I've got a feature for settings, not too extensive, which I think is actually quite kind of helpful. And then I can add either a new area, which is what we just went over, or a new project. And you see it just goes right in there. New project. And I can just start adding task 1, again, task 2, and you get a feel for it. Okay, you want to go back and change it. It's as simple as that. You want to go back and change the project name, simple as that. Nice little pull down here. I can also duplicate a project, which I think is quite nice. I can move it. And the other thing that's really awesome about Things 3 is just the ability to manipulate and move things around. You see how I'm taking this Pentecost project and I'm just moving it around. Maybe I'm not that interested in it. I'm going to put it at the bottom, or I am interested in it. I put it at the top. I think that's kind of nice. And if you try out the iOS version, it's even better. It's one of the best iOS productivity apps that you'll find. It's that good. All right. Now, with that said, there are a couple of negative features to Things 3, and I would list them as the following 5. There's no email to task, so I can't send an email into Things 3, which I think is a major disappointment for productivity users, especially for power users. I'm just going to pull up here the Culture Code website, just so you have a feel for that as I talk through a few of these things. So that's the first negative. The second negative is one that I think is really, again, very significant, and that's that I can't add an attachment. I literally have to use this ninja trickery through either a Dropbox link or an Evernote link back or Bear. That's something that I've been using. It can work, but boy, that is almost a deal breaker for productivity pro users. The third negative I would say is you can't use natural language. Again, that's like we were saying in over here. I can't say, pick up the shoes on Saturday, and it automatically knows that I'm talking about Saturday. Instead, I have to do a few more steps, and I have to tell it the exact date. And when I show you Nozbe in a second, you'll see why that's not a small detail. And if you're a Mac user and you're very familiar with something like Fantastical, you know how fast that natural language can be and how much it can add to your productivity. The fourth negative I would say is the lack of using hashtags. And if that doesn't really mean too much for you, I'm going to show you in Nozbe how absolutely game-changing that can be. And last but not least, there's no ability to do collaborative work or to delegate tasks to other people in your organization. With that said, would I still recommend would I still recommend Things 3 to the average person who wants to get a few things done? Yeah, of course I would. This is an excellent productivity app. It's easy to use, very low barrier of entry. So I think this is an excellent app, and I certainly recommend it to people. Again, though, there are some major negatives that pro users and real GTD enthusiasts will find kind of off-putting. With that said, let me take some of those negatives that I mentioned before, and I want to pull Nozbe in side by side so you can see what I'm talking about here, okay? Let me just get these guys side by side. And okay, you can see I'm a little twisted around here. That's okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull Nozbe to the right, okay, and you see I'm going to pull things to the left. If I can. All right, I'm having a little trouble here. That's okay. Okay. All right, so you saw from things some of the really nice format of it, how just beautiful it looks. Nozbe on the right is, in my opinion, very nice to look at, but certainly it may have a different feel for you. Now, let me just address the 5 negatives that I found in things and show you how they turn up and how you can deal with them in Nozbe. Okay, so the first one is I can't email to things but you do get a dedicated email address in Nozbe, so you can do that. Okay. The second thing is, let's say I'm in Nozbe. I'm going to create a new to-do, and I need an attachment. Okay, so maybe this is walk the dog. Okay, so you can see when I open that up, I've got all kinds of possibilities here, such as the date, the category, is it going to repeat? Do I want to star it and make it a priority item? You can do that in things, all right, just to be clear. And this is where the magic happens. I can add a comment here, and in this comment, I can remind myself of something, such as don't forget the leash, okay, or something like that. I can also add a checklist within that, just as I did back in things. But I can also add something such as an attachment, and this is huge because you can see it's not just adding a text, a checklist. I can add something from Google Drive, something from Dropbox, something from Box, or I can go into my regular computer, and you know what else I can do? I can drag something right into that, such as an image, okay? And watch how fast it is. Look at that. That's huge, okay? So that's a really big deal. Maybe I've got a picture of the leash. I don't know, maybe I've got a picture of the dog, whatever it is. But you can see I've just made that task quite a bit more sophisticated. All right, the third thing I can do in Nozbe is I can use natural language. So I'm going to just kind of minimize this. I'm going to create a new task, and I'm going to say, instead of walking the dog, I'm going to say mow the lawn, but I'm going to add this hashtagging feature, and I'm going to say hashtag Friday. Well, when I open up mow the lawn, it knows that I'm talking about June 2nd. Is that awesome? And then guess what it's going to remind me to do on June 2nd? Mow the lawn. Now, again, in things, it's going to remind you on June 2nd also, but in things, there are just a few more steps that you need to go to tell it that you want to mow the lawn on June 2nd. Okay? Now, the other nice thing about Nozbe is, again, this hashtagging entry system is just ridiculously powerful. So I've done walk the dog, I've done mow the lawn. How about wash the car? Okay, but I'm going to do hashtag priority. I'm also going to do hashtag Saturday. Okay, and I could also use a hashtag to delegate it to somebody else. So just by using the hashtag, I've told Nozbe I want it done on Saturday and it's a priority. I mean, that's just a really, really big deal that I think goes kind of underappreciated in Nozbe. You can't do that in things. As beautiful as things is, this hashtag feature is why a lot of Nozbe users find it to be kind of this indispensable app. And then the last thing is, in Nozbe, you can delegate tasks to other people. So let's say I'm going to say create the memo, and I'm going to again use my hashtagging, but I want to send that to Kathy. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to do create the memo. Now, if this is a project that I have shared with somebody else, such as one of my colleagues, all right, Kathy, then I can delegate things to Kathy within this, which I think is kind of powerful, okay? Don't forget. So as you can see, both of these apps are great. My job isn't so much to persuade you or convince you that one is better than the other. Look, folks, at the end of the day, if one works for you and helps you get more things done, that's the most important thing, isn't it? So whether you're using Things 3 or Nozbe, it really is at the end of the day about what helps you to be your best self, your most productive self, okay? So with that said, this is a Things 3 versus Nozbe comparison review. I hope you found it helpful. If you like what you see, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel or check out my website, mikestpierre.com, for more details, videos, and blog posts just like this. Thanks for watching.